everyone, today we have a very special keyboard with us. We are reviewing one of the most hyped keyboards of 2022, the Qwertykeys QK65. Much has already been said about this keyboard, and I am pretty sure that those of you viewing this video would have watched countless of reviews by this time on the history of this keyboard, the specs, the build guide, so forth and so on. So today we're not focusing on those. Instead, we will be focusing on one very important question. Will the QK65 be as good as the Owlabs Mr. Suit that we have over here? Before we get into that detail, a quick shout out to one of our main sponsors continuously supporting this channel. Qwertykeys offers a lot of good selection of switches, modding materials, and a lot more keyboard needs to suit your hunger for this hobby. From their budget switches to their high-tier switches, you won't be disappointed. Speaking of high-tier switches, they are one of the local resellers of the Zakus, one of my favorite linear switches if I'm looking for that loud, creamy, and smooth clacks. The Zakus are my loudest switches to date, and they are really good. One of the reasons why these usually sell out just a few minutes after being posted is that they are so smooth, the sound is so crisp and loud. They're just one of the clack kings in this hobby. They can be used stock, but lubing them yields best results for my personal taste. Do check out Qwertykeys for your switch and keyboard modding needs. Going back, Owlabs has been one of my favorite companies in the keyboard community. I do believe that they are innovators and have released a lot of endgame material keyboards at the price that would not really bleed your wallet. Again, of course, these are very expensive keyboards, but if you factor in the existence of Keycult, Satisfaction 75, and other keyboards out there, relatively, Owlabs keyboards are quite justifiable. If you must know, my priorities in keyboard selection would be value for money, acoustics, typing feel, and to some extent aesthetics. These being my least priority when I'm scouting for a new keyboard. I'm really not much into the status symbol and the like, and all of these being said, Owlabs ticks a lot, and by that I mean almost everything that I'm looking for in their recent keyboard releases. And that's also one of the reasons why I have the Mr. Suit, the QK65, and the Owlabs Spring. The Mr. Suit is my first high-end keyboard, and it remains to be the standard for me. Yes, I've tried other more expensive keyboards during mech meets, and somehow, for my personal taste, the Suit still outshines them for the type feel and acoustics. Qwertykeys is a sister company of Owlabs, and this has been mentioned over and over again since the initial release of the QK65. A lot will assume that this is for traction and hype. To me, however, the main reason is that I think the QK65 shares the DNA of the Owlabs boards, particularly the Mr. Suit and the Jelly. So imagine my feeling after participating in my very first group buy ever and expecting something so hype, even dubbed by many reviewers as the best budget board of 2022. I honestly had so much expectations that I was setting up myself to be disappointed. I told myself the QK65 at less than half the price can't realistically be as good as the Suit. I mean, it's going to be good, that's a given, but I don't think it's going to be that good. So after around a week of playing with the QK65, different configurations and different switches, how is it? It's amazing. It's amazing. Nothing short of amazing. This keyboard is unreal. I just can't explain how this thing costs this much and be this good. The E-White feels really good. It looks really good. I see no imperfection in the case whatsoever. I know that inside they did cut costs, but it doesn't matter. You don't see the inside of the keyboard when you're using it. This board is really solid, very hefty. The build is straightforward. I will link the build guide in the description, and even beginners can follow it very easily. There's only one thing that I miss out, is that for the mid and top case, there are 3 cases: the top, the middle, and this one is considered the bottom case. So for the mid and top case, there are 2 sets of screws. There are 4 longer screws that goes on this portion, the upper portion of the keyboard when flipped over like this. And there are 4 shorter screws that goes in this portion. So do take note of that. It comes with the owl stabs, which might be the thing that I least like about this keyboard. I have worked with a lot of owl stabs, and I personally think that it's a hit and miss. If it's good, it's good. If you miss, my god, you'd literally be like an owl up all night trying to tune that damn thing. Lots of sleepless nights trying to tune the owl stabs on my spring. Luckily, the set that came in with my QK65 was good. I just lubed them up and it's good to go. No holy mod, no anything needed. Unlike for the springs, it really gave me a nightmare. The owl stabs on my spring. Let's not talk about that. All right. It comes with a carrying case, 2 sets of mounting options. There are jackets and socks, coiled cable, everything aside from the keycaps and the switches. Which again, how is that possible for the price that this thing is selling? And then we go to the sound. Oh my god. Check this out. Damn. This board will easily be one of the top sounding keyboards that I have and I've tried and even heard for this year. I'll say it right now, it's acoustically as good as the Mr. Suit, and that, my friends, is a very bold statement to make. Why did I say that? Not because it sounds exactly like the Suit, but because the way it handles the sound signature, it's very similar. Well, what's so good about the Mr. Suit is that it can take a very wide variety of sound signature, depending on your configuration, depending on the switches, the plate, and the foam. You can run it with all of the foams or without any foam, and still, it will sound really good. The same can be said with the QK65. I mean, check out how clean this sound is without any of the foams in it. Right? The bottom silicone I think is needed. It will be hollow without it. But all the other foams, play with it to your heart's desire and it will sound good. More importantly, it will sound different. And this is what I mean by having a wide variety of sound signature. To give you a reference, this statement cannot be said true with the Owlabs spring. I think the spring handles a narrower range of sound compared to the QK and the Mr. Suit. These 2 keyboards, you can make it talky, you can make it clacky, you can make it very loud, you can make it very muted. It's really versatile, really versatile keyboard. So it sounds good, but more importantly, how does it feel? Because again, typing feel and acoustics are my top priority in keyboards. So how does it feel? Anatomically, the QK shares a lot of design features with the suit. It's gasket mounting, there's 3 pieces of case, flex cuts almost everywhere in the PCB and in the plate. Unfortunately, the QK65 still falls behind in typing feel. Don't get me wrong, this keyboard feels good. It has the right amount of bounce, it has a soft typing feel, especially when you use softer plate materials and without all the foams in it, it can be really bouncy. But at the end of the day, the Mr. Suit will outshine the QK65 in typing feel. And this is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, it's just that the suit is so darn good. The QK uses the exact same gasket socks and are mounted very similarly, but for some reason, once assembled, the flex isn't just the same with the suit. I can think of 2 reasons why this is such. One is because the top and the mid case in the QK65 compresses the gasket socks once screwed together. So try to screw these pieces just enough and not too tight to give it a better flex. And the other one is that because the Mr. Suit has much more flex cuts. The Mr. Suit has a crazy amount of per key flex cuts, and I think it translates to that vibrating type of feel when you type on the Mr. Suit. Which leads me to another important point to discuss for you guys. A lot of times people think that softness in the typing feel is all about the bounce and the flex. I would have to disagree. Yes, flex plays a role in the typing feel, but bouncy does not always equate to soft and pleasant typing feel. Take, for example, the Keychron Q series keyboards. They are by far the bounciest keyboards that I have tried in recent history. However, with the steel plate, my fingers will still easily get tired typing on the Q series board. With the FR4 and the polycarbonate plate, it's a good typing experience, but with the steel plate, no, it's not. The suit, on the other hand, and even the QK65, it actually does not bounce that much, but it has a very soft typing feel. The Mr. Suit has a very soft typing feel, and it has the feeling of the keyboard cushioning your fingers as you type. It's vibrating, but in a very nice way. This typing feel is really hard to explain, but I think it is what sets the Mr. Suit apart from other keyboards that I have tried. So, in summary, acoustically, the QK65 is up there with the suit. However, it falls short in the typing feel. Again, not because it feels bad to type on. No. This keyboard offers one of the best typing experience that I've tried this year. It's just that against the Mr. Suit, again, the Mr. Suit offers a better typing experience. This being said, if we talk about value, one of my main criteria for choosing a keyboard, for me, the QK65 is a better value keyboard than the Mr. Suit. For the price that they sold this one, and even if you buy it aftermarket, I think it's really hard to beat. Finally, we go back to the question at the beginning of this video. Is the QK as good as the suit? No. No, it's not. But, and this is a big but, for less than half the price, it gets you really close to the Mr. Suit experience.